Welcome to Versus. This is a new show we're going to try out. We'll see if it's popular. Maybe we'll keep it around. If it's not, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it for coaches development. We don't care what anybody thinks. Wouldn't be the first time I've done that. But anyway, basically it's a show where two coaches are battle it out, so to speak. They're each going to design a training program, and it's going to be for a real athlete. We'll use a different name for that athlete, but it'll be real people. So each coach has a limited time to present and justify their own program, and then you guys will determine a winner. So basically, this is Day's athlete. We're going to call her Sally. Day, I'll let you intro Sally, and then why don't we let Brennan go first with his design?
All right, sweet. So Sally is in her mid-20s. Background, it includes swimming and running. Is a stronger runner. That's strongest discipline, but they are a professional triathlete currently competing in the Ironman series. So in the 70.3s, Sally was her name, right? That we're using. Sally grew up swimming, transitioned into running sometime, I believe, in middle school, early high school, but I think it was middle school, and realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and is a great runner. Got recruited by multiple NCAA D1 schools, committed to Oregon in their distance cross-country program, and then bounced around a bit, but ultimately found themselves at the University of Arizona's triathlon program. Was successful in the program and now is in the professional realms of that. So in terms of strength training, they obviously had strength training as a college athlete, but they are tall. So they're a tall endurance athlete. So naturally they don't gravitate as much to the normal, what we consider like traditional strength training. But that being said, we've worked a lot on like general movements and all of those things, just gaining general strength. And over the past few years has made a lot of improvement. Upper body is usually the lagging strength part. So we focus a lot on upper body, but then because of the demand of the sport with the cycling and all the running, we also have to really consider lower body strength as well. So mixture of stuff. And
Dub, you got 10 minutes. Ready? Go.
All right. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it'll be 10 minutes, but we're going to try to go. All right.
No, you're done at 10 minutes. I'm going to cut you off. We got rules here, folks.
The hardest part for me actually programming this was just like trying to imagine the needs of like a triathlon athlete. Because like for me, I've never done that ever in my life. So it's kind of like I had to do a lot of research about it. So
yeah, we threw you into the deep end on this one, Debbie, because like I have triathlon experience and I've talked to Day a lot about it. And you have none.
So, yeah, literally
he's a
miles.
Professional athlete.
Literally a mile is a lot of running for me. So what I started with is a lower body day, lower body and grip stuff. So part A here, I did a front squat. This is kind of like what I would do, like a final end of progression stuff. I wanted to go with a kettlebell goblet squat here with the front rack holding it like right here. But I kind of figured like for just 1 week, I would just do the final progression of what I would do. So I did a front squat 5x8 and an RPE 7. It's just a slow controlled descent so we can build the strength coming out of the bottom, kind of like pressing on a bike kind of. And then we went to a dumbbell RDL, focusing on lower body strength again there, 3x10 by an RPE 6 to 6.5, something pretty easy to move. Shouldn't be maximal there. And then part C, I went with a Bulgarian split squat. I hate these personally, but they build a lot of strength. So I threw these in there, lower body strength there, a 3x8 on each leg. So 8 on each leg, RPE 7. This is another thing hard to program for someone. I have like no clue like much about like the needs of Sally, like what a heavy weight would be. So I kind of just went with RPEs because, like I said, I didn't know much about her. And then I went with a superset here. And I like to do supersets at the end of like a strength session. And I did a farmer's carry, 3x30 meters. I didn't know how many people like actually know the imperial system anymore. So metric. I went with the metric there, 3x30 meters at RP 8.5. This is one thing I do know about biking. I rode motocross for a little bit of my life. Arm pump is a real thing when you're gripping on the handlebars. So I threw that in there because riding a bike for a good portion of that, something pretty heavy. And then you go immediately into a McGill side plank, really focusing on the tension of your core, focusing on breathing through that, because this is another thing, swimming. I suck at swimming. Every time I'm swimming, it's not really muscular. It's like I'm out of breath the entire time. So focusing on breathing through there. And that's the first session. That's the first lower body grippy session there. And then the second session of the week, I just threw on a Wednesday. Don't know what her actual training schedule is. So
yeah, I did the same thing. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. This would be like your upper body pull and press day. I started with a tall kneeling landmine press, 4x8 at RP 6 to 7, 8 per arm. Focusing on there, just making sure that you're getting that press, that real nice tension there. This is another thing, swimming. You're doing a lot of this, reaching. I figured that would be pretty good for like a press, upper body press. And then part B, I went into an incline dumbbell bench press. I saw what you did, Day, and I was like, I like this. I like the incline dumbbell bench. So I kind of stole there. Might be cheating. I don't really know. I did a 3x6 to 10 reps, RP 7. Something kind of, I like when I'm training, I like to be able to control the reps that I do. If I'm feeling good, do more. If it's something that's not feeling super good, cut it back a little bit. So I gave a range there. And then, like I said, I like to end on a superset. So I went with 2 pressing movements in the first half of the training session. And then the second half, I went with 2 body pulling movements. I went with a lat pull down, vertical pull there. I went 3x6 to 10 reps again, given a nice range. I had RP 7, going immediately into a dumbbell prone row. I really like these. Ben don't program it a lot. I really like them. 3x10 there at RP 7.5. And
just so you know, there are people that get those every single week. It's just not you, Dylan.
It's not my needs.
No, it's not.
And then rest 60 to 90 seconds between sets there. So I figured put the 2 pressing movements at the beginning, 2 pulling movements at the end there, and that would be the upper body pulling session, pulling and pressing. And then the third session of the week, I went with a elevated trap bar deadlift. And I know when you said that she likes trap bar deadlifts, I had it programmed. I was like, yes, this is good. I did that.
Man of the people. That's what Chris would say. I'm a man of the people.
Yeah.
I did that at a 5x6 RP8, and I put a little description here. It should be around 65% of like a 1RM. I kind of got tired of writing RPEs. I don't know if you guys ever do that. So I kind of just threw a percentage in there. So it didn't feel, what's the word I'm looking for there?
You got to sell it. This is what the client needs on this day.
Yeah. And then I went into a dumbbell push press for the second part here. 3 sets of 8 reps, 7 to 7.5. I like dumbbell push press over a barbell push press better because you get the focus on stability in both arms, really, because you're having 2 different weights instead of a barbell. So I put a dumbbell in there, and also it's a press. I like my pressing, and that's a need of hers, so I threw that in there. And then finished it off with a superset here. I did rotational med ball slam, so throwing it into the wall. I did a 3x5 on each side. Like I said, got tired of writing RPEs, so I put a ball. I just put the weight of the ball in there, and I was thinking about explosive rotation with the hips. I don't know about her, but I figured because there wasn't like a much like of an explosive movement except that trap bar deadlift in the week and maybe the front squat, that might need a little bit more of like a repetitive explosion movement. And then I finished it off with that superset with a Copenhagen plank. I really suck at these, and I figured like this is something that, like, I don't know how many people are actually really good at it. And this is another thing, working on stability and strength with your core. I did 3 by 30 seconds and rested 60 to 90 seconds between sets because I figured that's a good rest.
Nice.
That's all.
Solid.
How
One
was
thing
the time?
Yeah, how long was that?
That was almost
I
exactly
don't know.
10.
It was pretty good.
It was like 8 to 10, somewhere in that range. That was right.
Bang.
Sweet. One thing
What were you
I
gonna say,
forgot
Dave?
to mention, I forgot to mention this in the background, was that for context for anyone listening, this athlete just came out of a series of races. So they were just in season and now they're coming out of season. So, things that, they're working now a lot on accumulating volume in their own training, but we could be a little bit push the weight a little bit more so we can cause them to, if they're sore, I'm not like, oh no, we're going to mess up their performance in like a very important race or quality
Perfect.
session.
Sally's ready for my program.
Yes. So Sally can get wrecked.
One thing that I wish that I would have put in here that I forgot to put, I really wish I would have put some sort of plyometrics at the beginning of each session. I saw strength session and I focused on the strength. I would have put some plyometrics at the beginning of each session.
That's a good point because I do think Sally would benefit a lot from plyometrics.
So, yeah, same format in terms of 3 days. You know what? I'm just gonna start plowing through here because there's a lot of text.
Yeah, I know mine looked like
Sorry,
just like a
Sally.
couple words. Yours is like a whole paragraph.
All right, so starting off, got some basic hip prep. I'm not going to go through all that boring stuff, Oh, Sally missed this session. Way to go. All right, starting off, Bulgarian split squats. Look at that. W and I are similar in 3 sets, 8 to 10 per leg, moderate, then RDLs from the rack. I always find that people have an easy time keeping good hinge mechanics if you take it top down. So I like doing it that way. Again, pretty light, controlled lower. Yeah, 3-second eccentric. So very similar to dub, and a lot of the stuff is going to be on tempo just because you're building that like motor control a lot of the time. And then I actually saw a lot of this from a program that I wrote for some girls who were doing some run training here at the gym. And one of the things I did for them, which I also did for Sally, which is I put some of the core work before some of the pressing and pulling, which Day's saying now that she's more upper body limited, maybe I wouldn't have done that. But I think for especially these were not triathletes that I wrote the program for. Obviously, this one is a triathlete. So it's like maybe that pushing and pulling is a little bit more of a priority and we push it in before the core. But anyway, I put in core next, EMOM for 8 minutes. Don't tell them that that's like CrossFit lingo. They'll get turned off by it. But yeah, so basically on the one, you got a rotational med ball slam, and the other, you've got a banded Paulo press. And then we got some, look at this. We got some hammer strength machines in here. This is for Day.
Yes.
Trying to persuade the judging panel. Supinated hammer strength, lat pull down. I kind of like this because it really stretches out the lat because you're not going all the way up overhead, but you're still getting that lat pull down kind of plane. And then again, because you get to similar to what Dub did, where you're using like something like a dumbbell, where you're getting that like bilateral strength to try to like, train both limbs separately, essentially. Obviously, in this one, you're separating it out completely, so it's an easy way to do that. And then finishing off that day with some joint health, hip airplanes, single leg balance board, weighted PVC raise from behind the back, and some seated dumbbell external rotations, which is basically just like hip control, ankle stability, which will like play into knee health, and then like some like shoulder basic patterns that like you're not going to get as much in like the basic strength conditioning that are still like important, like little odds and ends to take care of, in my opinion. Day 2,
I'm kidding.
don't worry, it gets more exciting from here. Day 3 is where I threw everything in, guys. So it was like, I'm running out of time, and I just threw it all in. Session 2, more posterior chain, vertical pressing and pulling, and some prehab work. Again, more boring stuff to start off. Here's a little bit of plyo work, right? We got 6 total sets of plyo, starting off with a little bit of assistance, then some body weight for 2 more sets, and then the final 2 sets are band resisted. A bit there. And then banded Russian kettlebell swings. Really, yeah, it's just kind of like moderate to moderately heavy building up. And that's really just the goal, is to like create some tension, because most triathletes are obviously going to be really low tension. So just kind of building some stiffness and rigidity and teaching her how to actually like transfer force effectively, and understanding that like relative to like a strength athlete, it's just going to be different stimulus. And then I didn't have a good name for this. So I called it a plyo jump, broad jump. Wait, what did I call it? So I called it a broad vertical jump hybrid. So basically I saw this guy and he was like a shot putter. Forget what his name was, but and he did like this like broad jump onto like a crash pad, where like his butt landed on the crash pad and there was like no eccentric. So basically he's landing on a soft pad, and then you can walk back around to the front, and you could do that for multiple times. You know, also at the University of Arizona, so I figured they have absolutely every toy available possible, you know. So this should be easy. But actually I found a video of a guy doing it into like a pole vault pad, which would be like a very similar type thing. You're basically just jumping as far and as high into the pad as you can, and then getting that soft landing. So there's no like eccentric catch phase. So trying to avoid beating up her Achilles a lot. Some banded Sorsen holds and GHD sit-up holds. To me, like midline versus like core, like midline is just like holding your position. So it's like resisting, being like bent over, resisting, getting flexed, or from one of the two, like, you know, either getting pulled forward or pulled backwards. So really just kind of like basic patterns there. And then some lower leg health, so some tib bar raises and some calf raises off a slant board. Again, hopefully not enough where it incurs a bunch of fatigue, but just enough where it's giving you some of the benefits. That's session 2. Session 3 was the kitchen sink session. Started off squat, single leg, horizontal push, horizontal pull. 3 minutes of a backward walk at an incline at 1.8 miles an hour. Got some good cues there to help her think about getting some VMO activation. Machine circuit style warm up, perform with BFR cuffs at 60% LOP. Again, assuming she is BFR, obviously. So like
everything.
Lying hamstring curl, leg extension, hip abduction. So basically get a little pump. And realizing you said before, if you give her too much high level stuff, that she'll like start to shut down on it. Binding BFR with a circuit and doing all this stuff, probably too much, but that's all right. We're just having fun with it.
Well,
so next,
I was with her today, and she's in her growth era, she said. So she's probably now more open to all this stuff. See, so I think it'll be good.
I knew that. The timing was right. She's willing to adopt the
perfect timing.
These are all things I knew as the program. Yeah, secretly listening to that conversation. All right, so then we'll get into the main stuff. And I find for a lot of people, like the BFR with just like a little bit of a pump can help with if they're dealing with any like joint stuff, it actually kind of clears up some of that and gives them a little bit of relief sometimes. So standing hack squat, I this is one where I had imagined it was like one of the like obviously it's standing as it's written, but then the one where you can kind of like face it, where you can like lean your hips back a lot, not get a lot of forward knee travel, really trying to mainly like get more hip extension with this hack squat variation, and then basically just building up to a challenging set across 4 sets. Smith machine, kickstand, RDL, just kind of removing some of like the stability component so she can isolate that working leg hamstring a bit more. I think the kickstand RDL really targets that hamstring way more than almost any other variation that I've personally done, with keeping the absolute lows like quite low, which is kind of nice. And then we got machine hip thrust, because again, of course, they have this. They'll quickly build to a set of 10 at RPE 8, and then you're resting for 2 minutes. That's just kind of calibrating with what the correct load is going to be. Resting 2 minutes and then going into ascending sets. So like starting with 4, rest 30 seconds, 6, rest 30 seconds, 8, rest 30 seconds, 10, 30 seconds, etc. Just building up. And then there's kind of some rules on it where like if you're not able to hit full extension, or you're forced to rest in between any of the reps, so you're not maintaining continuous motion, that's when you have to call it. So you basically just keep going in that format as long as you can, so you're not able to hit full extension or not able to can do it without a pause in between, and that's when you get cut off. So this is obviously way more intensive than maybe it should be, but that was just kind of like, fun stuff I was throwing in. So we got a chest supported row, supersetted with a dumbbell low incline row. So there's your horizontal pressing and pulling. And then finally, we got a belt squat march. So
I really want a belt squat.
Honestly, this would probably be really
topic.
good for a triathlete, and that was kind of my idea. But like again, this session now. It's like this better be before like a rest day, and you got to go carb up the next day at this point. But 5 minutes continuous, hugging a 10-pound med ball. So if anybody hasn't done a belt squat, especially like a march like that, like you just like lights up your lateral hips and glutes a lot, and even low back. So it's like, it's great for building up strength in that region, but at the same time, it's quite taxing. So you're not going to do anything productive probably the next 36 hours after this session. So maybe not ideal, but
sit around and be a couch potato.
Yeah. Classic, like load up before your rest day sort of thing on strength training, I guess.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Great.
So day now.
Time. I'm kidding.
I probably did. Actually, maybe a minute or two.
Points off.
So, I guess, yeah, you got to deduct me a point there. Day, have you looked at our categories?
Okay. Am I now?
Yeah, you're up. Now you got to judge us. So you don't actually give a winner. The audience has to give a winner. They can comment on the video and let us know who wins, but you can rate us on each of the categories.
Okay. And can you repeat the categories for me?
I'll feed them to you one at a time.
Yes, please, because my brain cannot handle more.
First one is flow. So quality of the skeleton / template to maximize quality work. 1 to 5 for each of us.
Okay. I think I'll start with W first.
Don't be too nice or it'll be boring.
I know. It's like,
I can feel it.
Hey,
now.
I need it to learn. I need it to
get
learn.
scores for everything. Shit, like you can't.
Okay, so
3 or 4. That's good. So, 2 or 5.
With the flow of W's, it's very straightforward, right? It's lower, upper, and then a mix of both on the next day. What I would say would bring it to another level. So let's say I would, on a scale of 1 to 5, I would definitely give it a 3. With knowing how clear and simple it was, I like that mixture, right? You're not throwing way too much in. It's not sporadic. There's clear thoughts through it. One thing that I think would help is looking at on your lower body day, if you're hitting things like, all right, you got hamstring. Do we have knee flexion hamstring? Are we working it through the hips or the knees, and considering those things so that when let's say you hit hamstrings through the hip hinge on Monday, which I believe you had the RDLs on the next day, on that third day, that was a full body day. Are we working hamstrings in another way, or is it also hip hinge again? Considering things like that. And then Ben, yours on a scale of 1 to 5, with the flow of things. I think one thing I've always really liked about the way you program is how it's engaging, right? It's like there's always a lot of novelty to it, which is good for athletes. Like that is, I'm telling you, like
it's great for a podcast. We're just talking about stuff.
But like, dude, people love it. And that what's one thing you got to do with athletes or anyone you're working with is you got to get people to like it. So that's like, I think you do really good with that. And then I think one thing would be, I really like on the top of every day you have like what the main focus is on the skeleton, like if it's posterior, whatever. Maybe a little bit more, how do I say? Maybe I would have to look at it a little bit more clearly on like what exactly is being hit on each day, if that makes sense. I give
Yeah.
you a 4.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just like as a whole, I have the tendency of getting a little bit like shiny object syndrome when I program sometimes. When I'm like,
Oh
oh yeah,
yeah.
this is what I actually am supposed to be doing on this day. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He just goes deep in the rabbit hole.
All right.
It's so easy
Let's
to
keep
get
this
to.
train moving. All right,
Yes,
effectiveness. So effectiveness 1 to 5 follows good principles, meets athletes' needs.
Yes. Debbie, I think one thing I mentioned in the background is that like general strength for this specific athlete. Although we've been doing strength training we've been working together for 3 years now, I believe like she's now heading into a realm that I believe she's more advanced, but keeping the meat and potatoes is always going to be a big thing for her. So you hit that pretty well, right? Like she's squatting, um, she's hinging, she has upper body movements, pressing and pulling in different directions. So that was really good. One thing you mentioned that you didn't add but you wish you did was the plyometrics, so that's something to add. So meeting her needs there, and I think a little bit more pulling emphasis as well would be helpful for her. She could handle a little bit more volume with that because I think she needs it. And also small accessory stuff too, like even simple like biceps, triceps type things. Like I think
Give her
she'd
some
really
curls.
benefit from just like yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
the hardest part for me was trying to figure out how much could I fit in 45 minutes also.
I know. That's another thing too.
My
Yeah.
sessions were not 45 minutes. They were not. That third one's like a
Friday
90
session was
minute,
like
2-hour
3
session.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally one where the athlete comes back. This took me 2.5 hours. I'm like, ah.
Yeah. And then on yours, I think you had a good amount of core work, which was nice because that is one thing that like I wrote in that document that is one of the focuses on this her off season is like core work. And I think meeting her needs with just general strength stuff. So like you added machines in there, which I think is really good for her right now because that's the time to do it, to build that strength. Is like we're not focusing on like obviously technique is good and all that stuff and you need to work on that. But right now, like we just want to get stronger, and doing like things like the hammer rows and the hack squat would be really good for her. And I think adding more volume now too, because she's been in terms of strength training, her volume has been pretty low for, I would say, the past like 6 weeks, lower than what it normally would be. So I think this is the time to, although like a 2-hour session is kind of wild, but like increasing that volume would be really useful for her too. So getting her exposed to that. What's the next category?
Practicality, ease of implementation.
Yes. Debbie gets 5 on that. Debbie gets a 5 on that. And that's the ease of implementation and all that, because like there will be times where they have a long I know, yeah. And so there will be times where they're swimming, biking, and running all on the same day. They're all over the place, also considering that they have a part-time job, that they're also a student. So the apartment gym or, the dumbbells that they have at their house is all that they need. They could probably do most of your program, Debbie, with that, right? So that's like, it's practical. It fits on their schedule. It's within like a 45-minute time frame. That's really good too. Ben's
You better be in Arizona.
Yeah, like you have to be at Arizona or else you're not going to get access to a crash pad, blood flow, the BFR cuffs, and the hack squat machine, hip thrust machine, hammer row machine. Yeah, but she does have access to it.
In the middle of her hip thrust set, quick lactate test.
It's a blood flow restriction with like, yeah.
Yeah. Did you rate me 1 to 5 on that one?
I would give you, let's say, 2.5.
It's higher than
2.5 on practicality.
All right, final category: artistry, creativity, originality, X factor.
That's what I was going to say. Ben's got a 5 there.
Ben gets a 5 there, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
nailed it.
And then W, yes. I think the 5 is pretty self-explanatory. So I don't have to go into a whole explanation there. And then W's, in terms of artistry, yours is very meat and potatoes, which anyone who knows me knows that I'm a meat and potatoes type of coach, but definitely consider a little bit more things, considering like keeping it, maybe adding in things that may be a little bit new to the athlete so that keeps them engaged a little bit more, just like, because part of coaching is kind of like a mental game of like keeping
you
them
don't want to be
engaged.
boring all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Sweet. So we'll throw it back to you guys
Cool.
listening. You gotta decide if Brennan won or if I did. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. So till next
I'm
time.
curious to see what people say. Yes.